Hello and welcome back to Red Fox Classics, where we have Mk2 GT6, which is not actually all that rusty anymore. Still some work to do, but not masses. Now what I've got to do now is something I don't really want to do, but is necessary. I cut off this ostensibly perfectly good looking wing. Now why? Well, it is a replacement. You can tell because you can actually see it's been stitch welded around the edge. And the quality of the repair work underneath is not enough, or not good enough that I'm willing to stick with it. It is a bit crispy along the bottom edge, but that's not too much of an issue. There's repair work needed in here and repair work needed quite high up this Wheelarch, which means we need to get in, probably get in under here. And what's been done behind here is, well, I already cut it off when putting the boot floor in. Now, it should be relatively easy to get rid of these stitches because they are quite small. We'll find out whether that's right in a couple of minutes. Now what I can't see, which might be a bit more awkward, I don't know how it's held on here. It looks like, I know there's a little stitch there. Been done the same? Anyway, I think it's probably not held on with very much around the Wheelarch edge. So, I'm going to find something to attack it with. I think probably, I don't know, I might take the die grinder and a burr bit and try and grind away these, or a little cutting disc around the edge, just like that. Don't know. I'll get chopping there. Probably take that sill off at the same time because I want to build the whole side of the car. And the sill is wonky, to say the least. So I've got these carbide burr bits for the die grinder, and this is what I'm going to try and use to get rid of these stitches. So hopefully I'm going to be able to kind of do that and just grind away the weld and a bit of the outer panel, but we can deal with that. There's a selection of shapes. And these, I had a question from David Plass about what I use to grind inside corners, and these are the things that I find quite handy there. Or one of the things. So I'll get the compressor on and I will start going along here and see how it turns out. So this is actually proving relatively successful. I can actually see, as I'm grinding these welds away, to see the wing pop out, the seam separate, which is good. I knew around here there's often lead loading. It wasn't here. There was a little bit in that corner, but huge amounts just falling out here. You see it trailing all the way down. Got quite big lumps on the floor. So, I'm going to do a better job of this. You obviously, no shame on the factory really. This is how these cars were built. But we can definitely get a better blend rather than filling that with fiberglass or similar. Anyway, I shall resume cutting. So I've got this free from here all the way to the front. This section isn't actually attached to anything because I cut off bits to get the floor in. So that's the hard part done. Pretty exciting. Now I've got to go in the Wheelarch though, and I don't really know what's going on in there. So I will get the dust mask on and get paint and rust cleaned off and see what we find. So I don't actually know how this is fixed up, and I suspect not very well is the answer. Well, there we are. The first things, I was wrong about the overlap here. I'd forgotten there was this middle panel, so we haven't been put on over the top of the other wing, which is good. It's less, well, what is it? I was right to take the wing off. It's a little better than I expected. I mean, they've gone to the effort of putting some sort of paint undersealy stuff on the inside here, but you know, that's playing over the remains of the Wheelarch. This is the hole through which the wiring loop is supposed to go, and we have this sort of ripped down, bent over piece of metal, which is great. And this Wheelarch is in a unpleasant condition, and it has had a replacement lip, but that's all rotted, so that needs doing. And the wing is mostly alright. Kind of wondering at the moment, because there's actually on eBay at the moment there's a NOS one that's been blasted and it's got a couple of holes in it. You know, like drilled holes for whatever reason. I wonder if that's a better bet, because I'd want to have this blasted, then have to repair all the edges. And by the time I've paid for blasting and consumables, and potentially I might need that real repair section. I'm probably getting close to that. So one to think about, not making that decision right now. I think what I might do is just fix this, because that's a nice easy job, and it gives me that the boot's done. Then, oh well, no, the boot's not quite done because I've still got to do some spot welds, but plug welds. But it'll get me that section finished before, you know, I've got to cut that sill off as well, but I don't want to do that just now. The bonus is it looks like the sill is not put on top of another sill in this case. Yeah, I'll get that edge cleaned up and then we'll see what needs welding in there, but it should probably just be some flat bits. So I've done a bit of clean up here. Got a tiny sliver off the bottom of this side of straight. I cut myself an overly large bit of metal, because this kind of needs to go like that. But all I'm going to do is put that on, and then when the wing eventually gets fitted, chop away the bottom, because then we'll cut it to match the wing and don't need to try and be overly precise right now. Now, there needs to be a little bit of bend there, because that bit is a straight line and then that bit is a straight line, but there's a little bit of a kick there. So I think down here as well, that's got that panel, or Wheelarch and this intersection were originally one panel, so that's a bent corner. So we need to continue that down a little bit into here. Let's put the tiniest bit of a bend into that. Even that's probably a little bit too much. And it's one place. Somewhat. It's not too much, but flatten it out. This needs to come out a little bit to match. Okay, so I'll lop that little corner off because it's interfering, but otherwise that looks good. So I want some plug weld holes in here. I get the blaster on that, make sure that's clean, get them primed, get it all welded together. So I run up here with the spot blaster. This bit came out alright really, but it was a little pitted, and you know the amount of time it's cost me just to stick a bit of scrap in there and grind it back. It was a better choice. This cleaned up okay, but the inner bit wasn't really attached to the outer bit very well, and the way the wing is going to go on is probably not going to quite necessarily catch this when it gets welded. So I've just gone and done myself a little run of stitches down there, and that's solidly attached to the valance now. So now I get the primer on, and while that's drying, think about what else we can do. Well, actually what I do have to do is probably go along here and fill in all these bits where the original spot welds were drilled out when they've gone into the remaining metal. So much for the freshly painted floor. So I've got those remnants of spot welds filled in and ground down, and while my paint is drying I came to have a look at this. Now you can see the method of construction here is obviously just to chop the GT6 roof from the top and then give this a bit of a smack till it lines up and weld it, and then cover it in lead. But we can do better than that, and I've got something. I bought this from my Spitfire and I couldn't use it because, let's see here, the depth of the striker is nowhere near what it should be. And I actually found that out after I'd partially welded it in and then found I couldn't shut the door at all. In fact, that missing E-coat scratch bit is the door lock hitting this panel without the striker in. Anyway, top bit's alright. So yeah, obviously there's not much wrong with most of that, but this is all frilly, and it's where the pressing bit is. So I'm going to take the top of this, so fit it in there, and then can put in a little piece just to blend that all in a bit more nicely, so it doesn't have to be covered in filler. Okay, so let's have the top off of this, just above the pressing line, that equivalent pressing line. That'll be fine. I want to extend that edge a bit, but that primer's exploded everywhere again. Anyway, didn't get very far with the B-post because it being quite a warm day, this is dry. So I'm going to get this panel in. Now I'm doing this without having picked up any clamps. So, got that inner repair done. I just popped the wing back on, and I think this is convincing me that it's the one to keep. Because, yes, it might be effort, but I don't think this bottom bit needs replacing, which was the thing I was worried about. I've had to lock the corner off the front, but that's an easy repair. And it's wanting to sit quite nicely back where it went. And I've also managed, there was a kink in here that must have come when it was being fitted before. And I think probably because they tried to flatten out this plane. But it's hammered out, well, there's still a bit of a lump there, but most of it came out very easily. So I need to have another go, but yeah, I think the wing is good. Or repairable. And yeah, anyway, main reason I put it back on, I'm not trying to fit stuff yet, not properly. That's because I wanted to be able to figure out where this wheel arch should go, so I can finish off that bit, or at least the inner bit. So this afternoon, well, sorry, yesterday afternoon and this morning, kind of got stuck into removing all this wax oil from inside here. Now obviously it was good, it was wax oiled, but I want to get some paint on it, and I also want to weld bits of it without setting myself on fire. That said, I found what I've been doing is just scraping with a paint scraper till I got most of it off, and then using a blowtorch and a wire brush. Now the blowtorch, if there's anything really, really thin there, it just burns it. And it powders off, and anything that is a bit more, it still softens. So that's gone quite well. I also had to do the same on the inside of the wing, because I've just dropped off the inside of the wing to be shot blasted, and I paid for the bonnet as well. Bonnet is not coming yet because organising transport and scheduling with me and the guy doing blasting. But so that'll be another week or a week and a half. Anyway, still plenty to do. Can't do that because we kind of need the wing to look where it goes. Can't do most of this, though I could probably. This has been, distorted when being welded before, so I might just cut this out and then finish. I'll redo this face, so I'm ready. I'm going to do that bit that we talked about the other day. That inserted in the top of the B-post, and do a nice blend here rather than the factory hammering. And there's all this down here to investigate, and probably the sill to take off. Well, definitely the sill to take off, because I want to replace the, well, I'm pretty sure I want to replace the inner sill completely on this side, because it's quite rotten down in that corner, and trying to work on that's going to be awkward. It's also, it's been, this flange is a little bit manky, having been stitch welded previously. and the bottom of it's gone too, if you see. Yeah, that's going to be rubbish under there. So, seeming like a whole new one is the best plan. Anyway, let's go and get on with that. So, I've been staring at this a bit more. You can see there's some rock coming through there. So, actually, rather than just do this bit and then in here, I'm going to have to do that corner as well. So, I'm thinking what my best bet is to lock this off somewhere here. And then I'm just going to, there's a little spot weld there, so I'm going to try and come under that. And across there. And then down that edge as close as I can. I get all of that out because this is going to be a bit of a mess because we've got a gas weld across there and there, so that's all going to be fun to remove. Or at least from this bit. But then we can build something to fit in this space because we don't really, well, we don't want it to look like it originally did. We want it to look nice and smooth. So there's not really any harm in cutting out what's here. So I'll get that done. I best jam a wire brush in here and some rust converter and stuff first, haven't I? Because there's still going to be inaccessible bits. So that's now full of Genelite and weld through primer. Put this in here. Doesn't seem flat anymore. So now I can fill in that little bit. So I'm just going to use, this is the bit of the door skin because it's already primed. I think it might be better doing two pieces, a little rectangle, little squashed rectangle. So yesterday I cut that rather scabby looking bit off the back of there and made that go in. So that'll go in there and just kind of encourage it around to fit as we weld it. Probably need a bit of a squash down to match that shape. Then there'll be a little section put in there, and I think I'm gonna, don't like what's happened to this pillar because you can kind of see it looks like it's tipped over. Now whether that was me or what it was like beforehand, I'm not sure, but it doesn't really matter. I think what I'm going to do, don't know, probably going to put a little grinding disc down there and just tweak that out a bit so we get a straight line. Anyway, I'll get that welded, and that might be us done for the moment. So that's all done. I've been using that little carbide burr bit again to get there, down the corner, and then finishing the corner off actually with the edge of the angle grinder disc. We could still do with a bit more touching in. There's a couple of places like that needs a lot more weld and a bit more of a grind. I think I might revisit this when I come to finishing the wing. No, with the wing off blasting, it might be a week or two. I can't do anything more here because I'm going to. I looked at getting a Wheelarch repair panel for this, and they're now £100, and I don't really like them because they're not pressing. They're built, so there's a weld seam along there rather than the press panel. So you have to replace the whole thing, which means like cutting along here. And on the Spitfire, I did on the right hand side, I repaired the Wheelarch, and on the left hand side, I put panel in. And even though there was a lot of welding involved on the right, it still felt easier. But anyway, can't do anything on that till I've got the wing because I'd have to build this arch to fit the arch of the wing. So I think it's time to cut this sill off. But if you want to see that, you'll have to come back next time. So thanks for watching. If you do want to see what happens next, make sure you're subscribed. Then you'll get notified about when the video turns up. Thanks everyone who already is subscribed, anyone who comes back anyway, and I'll see you next time.